Welcome to the training webinar. I'm Dale Franks, and this week we are going to talk about offline email completion. Now, this has nothing to do with the email result links or completion links that you can place onto an email template. In this case, we're talking about enabling people to receive a task email, and rather than opening Process Director or even accessing Process Director or their browser at all, just being able to reply to that email and being able to have that email reply complete their task. So that's what we're going to discuss today. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So going to share my screen in the newly inconvenient way that Zoom has decided to make screen sharing work. I have email running, so I may get a little discombobulated here trying to find the messages that I want because I get a lot of email on a daily basis, but that is my problem, not yours. Just be patient with me as I go through my email and as I try to figure out where my mouse pointer is from the other screen. So let me just give you a brief demonstration first, then we're just going to build it from scratch. So I'm going to run this form instance. There's not much to it. It has a form field, although I don't know why I put a form field on there. I don't care about it. All I really care about is having a task kicked off to which I can respond via email. So I'm going to go ahead and just submit this form. And in doing so, it will kick off a task. Now, this field right here, this big field, is a signature comments field. I do need that field. That is the one field I need on the form, but I'm not going to do anything with it now. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to close this form without saving. The reason is because I've gotten my email notification that I have a task to perform. So here's my email. Keep this bit in mind. It's going to be important later. Actually, it's important now, but I'll explain its importance here a little bit later. So I've received my email. I'm looking at it, and it tells me I can type the approval text on the first line and any comment you'd like to add on the second line. All right, well, let's do that. So we'll hit reply. And I'm just going to hit approve, and I'll hit enter, go to the second line and type in, this is my approval comment. And once I've done that, I'm just going to go ahead and send this email. Now, I'm going to do this manually because I don't really have an automated system set up to do this. So normally what would happen is I've sent my email. It would go off to a email server and it would sit in an email inbox, and I would need to import that. We'll talk about that later. I don't have that set up. I have everything else set up but an email server that I can monitor the email inbox for. And we do it on a scheduled basis, so I'd have to prompt everything manually anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this email message to my downloaded folders. So we'll just go to Save As, and email completion test 533.message. I'm going to save that email in message format. So I've now saved this email. This is the email. I intentionally sent the email to myself. It's configured to send from me and to me so that I get all of the emails. So in this case, I'm the email server. So here is the message that I've received in my email server, or that I have received as the email server. And I need to import this email. And by import it, I mean manually add it to my folder here, which is where all of my emails go. And so there's my email completion request. Shouldn't have that preview on, but there's that email completion request number 533. I'm going to go ahead and upload it into my system. All right, it has been uploaded into my system. And I am waiting for, and I'm not sure how long it will take. This is what I'm looking for right here, a success message. Then this message goes to me. Again, it's configured to specifically go to me. You could configure it somewhere else or some other way, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But this is my success message. So it says it actually worked. It processed my email. How do I know it processed my email? Well, I can go into my process timeline. I don't need to go into the timeline. I just need to go into the completed timelines. And here is my email task completion process that I kicked off at 9:02 a.m. There's my result, approve, and there's my approval comment, my signature comment that was added. And in fact, if I go into my timeline items tab for this process timeline, I can actually see there is my email message right there. Well, obviously messages can't show up in a browser, but we've seen the message. We know what it is. This is the actual email message that was received. It is now attached to the process as a process attachment. If I go into the form and look at the form instance itself, this is the form instance right here. And I have a signature comments field, but of course, since I'm no longer in a process, it doesn't show up here. So we can't actually see it on the form, but my form has been completed. And I know that my signature comments are there because we saw it in the routing slip. What I probably should have done is stuck a routing slip on that form so that we could see the routing slip that we saw. Well, that's not what I wanted to see. I wanted to see the completed timeline. There, I wanted to see that routing slip right there. So we know that it's working. How does it work? Let's go ahead and rebuild this whole thing from scratch. So we're going to go into our webinar folder. Now this is mildly complex. There's a couple of moving pieces here that we have to implement. And so I'm going to implement them. Well, I was about to say I'm going to implement them in an odd order, but maybe it'll make sense if I do it this way. Let's take care of our process first, the one that we want to get the approval for. So let's just go ahead and create our process form and our process timeline. So we'll create a form definition. I believe I'm in my webinar folder. I hope I am. I didn't check. Let me, yes, I am in the webinar folder. All right, just wanted to be sure about that. So we'll go to the form definition. We'll call this the process form. And we'll hit OK. And we'll do all of the normal form stuff that we would normally do. In this case, I really only need one field. I need a signature comments field. And so I am just going to drop in a signature comments field here. Oh, that's signature control. Signature comments. I have completely forgotten where signature comments exist. There they are, right there. Signature comments. So there we go. There is my signature comments control. That's the only control I really need on this form, but I am going to add some action buttons. So actions, let's drop in a button area right there at the top. And let's go ahead and drop a routing slip on this form just so that we can see our results without having to go into the process timeline, although we'll probably go into the process timeline anyway. So I need my routing slip control. And there we go. That's all I need on the form. And the only field that is really required is the signature comments field. I will tell you, just as a note, the reason that I dropped a button area control on the form prior to dropping a routing slip control on the form is just a best practice. If you don't have a button area control on a form, Process Director will stick a button area at the very bottom of the form. That's really inconvenient if you have a routing slip. you really do want to have the button area above the routing slip. So if I'm going to put a routing slip on the form, I'm always going to drop a button area in on top of it. A lot of times it doesn't matter. It certainly wouldn't matter here really because we only have one activity. So my routing slip is only going to be 2 lines long, the form initiation or submission, and then the one activity that we're going to create in our process timeline. So that would not be a burden. But of course, for other processes where you might have 30 or 40 lines, the reason that we put a button area in and then drop in the routing slip control is so that when people are filling out the form, they don't have to scroll through the routing slip to get to the task completion buttons at the bottom of the form. It just becomes a little bit of a pain, especially if you've got a large routing slip. But that's my form. That is what I need. So I'm just going to go ahead and save and close it, and then we will build a process timeline. And then we'll, of course, link the two. So let's give it a moment for the spinny to finish spinning so that it can save. There we are. We are saved. We'll hit OK. We're happy with our form so far. Now we'll create a new process timeline, and we will call it the process timeline. So I have my process form and my process timeline. Before I go any further, I'm just going to go ahead and link these two. So I'm going to set the form for timeline to my process form and hit OK. Then I will go to my form. I will go to the properties tab, go into options, and I will automatically start this process by selecting the process timeline form. I don't really need to do this because I'm not going to do any conditions or anything, but I am going to set the timeline associated with form property as well, simply because that's best practice to set both of these. I'm not going to use those other than the automatically start this process, but just to do things right, we'll do it that way. Now we can go back to our process timeline and begin configuring it. We're just going to have one activity. It's just going to be a regular user activity. I'm going to go ahead and, of course, keep it assigned to me as the participant because, well, it's a demo, so it has to be. I'm going to go in and create my results. This is the first point at which it becomes important now to know that we are doing offline email completion because our results are going to need a little special configuration. There's two things that are very important that we do here. We're going to add our first activity result. We're just going to call it approve. And we're going to go into the options tab here. And in the options tab, there's a property called optional list of strings for email complete. This property, if you are not doing offline email completion, is completely superfluous. It's not used for anything other than offline email completion. But if you are going to use offline email completion, you have to have it because we have to be able to give people the options that they need to approve or deny a task. We could keep it simple. We could simply call it approve. I probably wouldn't because some people are not just going to type approve. You'll have people who will type things like approved. They'll add a D to it. So we want to be able to cover that. I'm not entirely sure. You know, I should have probably tested this just to answer the question, but a question arises to me now. If I type in approved, does that also include approve? That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that question. I probably should have tried it, just used approved and then typed in approve, but I didn't do that. I added approve as an explicit option. I don't think it hurts if you do that. Yes, sure, okay. Anything that I type in here, and note that I am separating each of these options with a comma, it will accept any of these options as an approve result for this timeline activity. I could probably add a whole bunch of other options. I'm not gonna, but whatever you add here in this comma separated list, whenever the email is received and parsed, it will be evaluated to ensure that the response contains one of these strings. I think if you type in approved, approve will also work. But like I said, I'm not sure because I didn't specifically test that, although, in hindsight, I probably should have. So I have my approve result. I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing for my deny result. So I'm just going to add a second result, which I'm just going to call deny. And again, we'll go to the options tab and deny, denied. Now those are two definitely distinct strings. Denial. No. Nope. Whatever we want to put there, we can put there. And as long as this string, one of these strings exists in the emails, it will now set this to deny. There's one more important thing that I need to do here. I've got my results. I'm pretty happy with them and the way that they look. I've got them configured. But, and this is very important, I need to go to the Advanced Options tab. By default, Process Director will not accept offline email completion as a completion method. You have to tell Process Director that that is what you are going to do. So there is a property for that called allow task to be completed from email. You need to be sure that you set that property or none of this will work. There are, in fact, a couple of breakpoints here where none of this will work unless you configure them properly. And this is one, this is the primary one that you need to ensure works. So as long as I have that checked, and as long as I have my results configured with the appropriate strings for email complete, I think I'm pretty good to go here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit close, and I'm going to hit OK. And my form and my process timeline are done. Now, this is great. They just don't do anything as far as email goes yet. So I have to configure that so that it works properly. I need a place to store my emails, and it needs to be a folder that is set up as a smart folder. So I'm going to go ahead and create the folder. Well, actually, I'm not going to create the folder yet because creating the folder doesn't help unless we really talk about the architecture behind this. Like I said earlier, normally what is going to happen is you're going to have a email address to which the user can reply, and it's got to be a real email address, one that actually has an inbox associated to it and that accepts messages. Under normal circumstances, going to installation settings, we have a couple of emails that are set up on our system that are from email addresses for workflows and process timelines. So for me on this server, the standard return address is bpl-test@bplogix.com. This email inbox doesn't actually exist. It's basically just a placeholder email. It is an unattended email inbox. If it does exist, I certainly don't have access to it and don't know who does. So it's not really a real email address. And it's quite common to do this on a system, just to set up an unattended email address that does not accept email messages. It's just a generic notification email address, and its sole purpose is literally to provide a dummy email address as the from address of an email message. There's a fallback email address that's also built into the system, and it is called the registered email property. And in this case, this is a real email address. It's mine at VP Logix, although it is not dale.franks at VP Logix. So guess what? That is not a real email address, although now it is. Again, if I don't have anything configured in global variables as my standard workflow from email address, then it will fall back to here. We are going to need to use a real email address, which means that we are going to have to put an email address on our email data control on our email template that is going to actually be a real email inbox. And the reason is that under normal circumstances, what we're going to do is we are going to pop open BP email import. Oh, what Windows really hates self-signed applications. Oh, I had it and then missed it. So there we go. This is BP email import. Whenever I respond to my email, it's going to go to an email inbox somewhere. Now, in the configuration that I'm going to create, it's just going to come directly to me in my own email. I'm going to be the email server. But under normal circumstances, you would not be the email server. You would actually have a real email server that will store all of the response messages that you get from your processes. It can be the same email inbox for all processes. That doesn't really matter. Although, no, it can be for all processes. It doesn't really matter. It can be a catch-all email address. I was trying to think ahead about how we're going to set up the custom task, but it doesn't matter because in the email we're going to have the actual task specified. So you just need an email inbox. You can put all of your email messages. Now, those messages have to get from your SMTP server. Well, actually, it'd be a POP3 or an IMAP server since it's incoming email. But you've got to get from your email inbox into Process Director. That is the purpose of BP email import, where you specify a Process Director installation, and then B, a mail server installation with an inbox specified, a username and a password, where all of the mails are going to be stored. And then using the Windows Scheduler utility, you will prompt a run of BP email import to just pull all of the emails out of that email inbox and bring them into Process Director. What you probably want to do is do it the way that I will show you how to do it. And when the emails come into Process Director, go ahead, delete them from the email inbox. So, or move them to a different folder. The default is to delete all of the email messages. Now, that's generally for POP3. It says not recommended for IMAP. I would do it anyway just to keep my size down, but I'm not going to get into email system management. That's not my bag, man. But we want to pull those emails off the server. I like deleting them, but if it's IMAP, you may just want to move them to a deleted items folder that you can, manually delete, or in your IMAP system, periodically delete automatically using your what is it, email cleanup, inbox cleanup settings. But you do want to pull all these messages, and you do want to get them out of the inbox itself, because you want the inbox to be empty so that the only emails that are imported on the next run of BP email import are new messages. So if your old messages aren't in the inbox anymore, then you don't have to worry about pulling in the same messages over and over and over, which if you do, by the way, is not going to be a problem because the task to which those emails would be associated has already been completed. So nothing will happen. It will just try to process them. It will note the task is complete and it will just move on to the next thing. So, it's not a deal killer or anything. If you bring in the same messages over and over, but just for organizational purposes and for efficiency's sake, I would only bring in, I would clear my email inbox every time I ran BP email import. Now, the way that you actually run this is probably on a scheduled basis via the Windows scheduler. In fact, what's going to happen is once you have configured this, you're going to get this save parameters message here. And you can actually run BP email import directly as a command from your scheduler, or you could export it to a batch file and then run the batch file from the scheduler. Either way works. Largely, the purpose of BP email import is to do all of your configuration here to enable you to save it as a Windows command, as either a batch file command or just a prompt command that you would put into a Windows scheduler utility trigger. Either way works. This is the actual function that is going to get called by Windows, and you do this on a recurring basis every 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever it is. Now, the only way that the system works for this is if there is a folder to prompt a processing of these emails. So I get the email as a user. I send the email off to whatever email inbox it goes to. At some point, BP email import runs and it grabs those emails and does what with them? Well, it has to import them into Process Director. So it needs a folder location where those emails are going to be stored. So let's go back to my webinar. And we'll go ahead and create the folder. And we'll just call this folder email imports. So I've got this folder. This folder needs to be a smart folder, which is to say, every time an object is brought into this folder, it needs to kick off a process. Now, as it happens, I don't have that process. So I've created the folder, can't do much with it. I need to create a process that is going to run anytime an object is created in the folder. So I'm just going to go back here to my root level. I'm going to create a new process timeline. Not going to do anything with it yet, but I'm going to create this process timeline and I'm just going to call it email import process. It just needs to exist for me at this point. I'm going to come back and configure it later, but I've got the process. I need to go into my email imports folder. I need to go to its properties. Inside the properties of this folder, I want to set this as a smart action. So I'm going to pick automatically start this process when objects are moved into this folder. So anytime I import something or what have you, I want to run this process. And I want to be sure that this is in fact the process that this is the property that I want to run. So I'm going to have to go back and check just to be sure that I'm picking the right one. But I believe it's automatically start this process when objects are moved into this folder. And I'm going to select my email import process, which at the moment doesn't do anything. Just to check my emails folder, just to be sure that my configuration is correct. No, automatically start this process when objects are created in this folder. See, glad I went back and checked that. I think the other would actually work, but let's do it the way that I originally did it, right? So let's go back to my email imports folder. Let's change that up a little bit. Let's hit no selection here, and we'll run our email import process timeline from here. Since I already have an application that I know works, I'm not gonna mess with it. I think this would work as well because I think this will work on the import. So creation will catch items that are created manually and imported into the folder. I think this only works for imports. I'd have to go back and check on that. It does get a little, these two have a lot of overlap. The automatically, when objects are created and when objects are moved, there's a little bit of an overlap. This is the most expansive one. So it's probably appropriate to go ahead and pick this one to run my email import process. Okay, so I've got the basic architecture. This architecture doesn't do anything, but at least I have the folder into which I can import emails. When I import the emails, the folder will automatically start a process for each object that gets imported. We haven't configured that process yet. We're gonna, but at least we have the architecture down now. So now we know where our emails are going to go and we know how they're going to get into our system. We don't know what's going to happen to them when they get in. We're going to have to configure that. But we'll handle all of that later. Let's go back to our process. The way that we are going to run our email import process is we're going to look at the lines. Yeah, I'm as I'm rebuilding it, it gets a little confusing because there are some moving parts. So I'm kind of reconstructing how we're going to handle this sort of on the fly. We're here, we've built the architecture. Before I talk about the email template, let's go ahead and do the process. The process is super simple. So let's go ahead and handle that and get that taken out of the way, and then we'll figure out how we make this process happen. So I'm going to go ahead and create an activity. And this activity needs to be a custom task activity. So we're going to change it from user to custom task. Now, this is the only activity that we're going to have on this process timeline, but we are going to run the email import custom task. So I think that is under content actions and email import, and we're going to go ahead and add that custom task. I have the option of setting a container form. In this particular example, I don't have to do it because we're not going to try mapping data from fields or stuff between fields and stuff. I'm going to go ahead and do it simply on general principles, but we're not really going to do anything that is going to affect this process form. We're not going to do any field mapping. We're really just trying to figure out what we want to do with the emails so that we can do email completion on the task. So now we'll go ahead and we will configure our email import custom task, which is taking a second to open, which is odd because I just opened it up at like 9:30 this morning. So let's give her a chance to open. There she goes. All right, so here is what we are going to do. First of all, we are going to set this to timeline references 2018-03-28. Hold on. I'm not seeing what I expect to see. Forgive me. Email action. I think I grabbed the wrong custom task. So let me go back to my email import process. Create that activity again. I'll set that to a custom task. Um, that's email import. It is not email import that I want. I have forgotten where that is. Process, email action. It's very easy to confuse these two, and I confuse them all the time. We're doing an email action. It's under process. Email import is a content action, and that's not what I want to do. I do want to do the email action custom task for the process. So let's add that custom task. Let's once again grab that container form, set it to our process form, and let's open this. And this is what I expected to see a few minutes ago. We are going to be pulling this email in, and we need to be able to parse it. What this custom task does, email action, what this custom task does is it enables us to do that parsing. It's actually pretty simple to configure. I need to specify where my results are. And since I do have comments on this form, I have signature comments, I need to specify where my comments are. I've got a couple of different ways of doing this. The easiest way is to set it by line, right? So if I set it by line, I can just set line 1 as the line where I want my results and line 2 as the line where I want my comments. So my users just need to know when they reply, very first thing is you just type in approve or deny, and then you hit enter, and then you type in whatever comments you want to type to set up as signature comments. This also gets a little tricky if you require signature comments for a deny result, because it's going to fail if they do not provide those signature comments. So you do have to be a little careful, and your users have to be a little diligent if you're going to have that kind of setup where I'm requiring comments for some results, but not for others. They need to know when to supply those results. If they don't, everything is going to go a little wonky on you, and it's not going to complete the task the way it's supposed to complete the task. So you got to be careful with that. I haven't required signature comments, so this is all going to work fine. This is the easiest way of doing it, by line. It's the one that most people understand. It doesn't require that the users do weird stuff, because the other two require that the users do weird stuff. They either have to have a keyword that you specify somewhere in the email, and then with that keyword, they need to specify a value. So it would have to be like result : approved. That's going to get iffy to get users to do that. So having a keyword and a value, you can do it, but users are going to mess it up all the time. So I'm just telling you, based on my experience, line 1 and line 2 is the easiest way of setting that up. Everybody understands. I put the result on line 1, I hit enter, and then I type in my comments on line 2, and then I hit send. That's all I do. It doesn't require that I do anything special. Keywords and values do require that the user does something special. It's just going to be confusing. You might be able to do it as, an IT professional, but whether your users can is an open question. So just keep that in mind. So this is the way that I'm going to recommend that you do it, because I think it's the simplest way of doing it. There is an extra layer of security on this that you can implement. We're not going to, but because everything is going to and from me, so I wouldn't be able to make it fail. But you do have a validation that whoever sent the response email, that it was sent from the person to whom the task assignment was sent. So it will look at their from address, and based on that, we'll say they were authorized to receive this message or not. If it happens to be from some address that is different than the address to which it was sent as the original notification, then it will reject their attempt to go ahead and complete the task. So you have that layer of security. Whether you implement it or not, you have to think about your users and how they use their email. If they are forwarding their email when they are not online and they are forwarding it to someplace like Gmail, then their response is going to be from Gmail. So they're not at the office. They don't have access to their computer. They don't, for one reason or another, have a mobile device set up on the network. So they format or they forward their email to Gmail so that wherever they are, they can access their Gmail. All of their official email is forwarded there too, and they can respond to it. We have seen that happen, indeed, with senior executives who decide that's how they want to do it. Okay, great, but then if you check this box and they respond from their Gmail account, it's going to reject their email completion. So this is available. Just keep in mind there are some wrinkles to that. Email attachments. We do want to attach emails to the process. We're going to go ahead and use the group name email. We're not really going to do anything with that group name, but again, I'm just setting it as a matter of principle. So now, once this kicks off, with each email that is imported, I want to grab that email. And as we saw earlier, I want to go ahead and attach that to the process. At the bottom, I need to have a success and failure message. Well, I don't need to. They're actually optional. This will tell me, as the person who sent the response, whether sending the response was successful or not. So while it is optional, I would always do it. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I'm going to call that's reply on error. I probably shouldn't call that success. I'll call that fail or fail. And on the body of the message, didn't work. And then for successful task completion, type in success and worked. So I'll get the email that tells me this all worked fine. All right, this is fairly simple to set up. It takes far less time to set up than it took me to explain all the various wrinkles of it to you. So we're fine. We're going to go ahead, set that up. Oh, destination form control. Somehow I hit a button that, somehow I hit append data to array. I don't want that. I want to get rid of that mapping. And now I should be able to hit OK. And we have it saved. Now we are going to be able to process those emails. Well, almost. We still have more configuration to do. You see, this won't work unless it knows what task it is supposed to be completing. Because remember, what's going to happen is emails are going to be imported into the email folder. When it gets imported into the email folder, it's going to kick off this email import process. Well, this process is not associated in any way with the actual process timeline that specifies what task is being performed. So I have to have some way of running this import process to actually process that email with a specific timeline activity or timeline timeline activity instance actually is what I'm trying to associate it with. And right now I don't have that. So the other important piece of making this work is the email template that gets sent to the user, because it does have a required element, as we saw earlier. And rather than typing all of this stuff manually, I'm going to open my email completion template and I'm just going to copy and paste so that you guys don't have to watch me type all this stuff. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and bring it all in all at one time. All right, that way you don't have to watch me make an email template from scratch, but we'll go over it. So let me go over here. Let me go create new. We're going to make our email template now, and we will go to form definition. We'll call it the email template. Oh, that is a mistake. I didn't mean to do that. So now we have to delete that. I did not make it an email template. I made it a normal form. I did not open the options section to do that. So we're going to go with form definition again. We're going to call it email template. And this time, before we hit the OK button, we're going to go into options and we're going to make it an email template. That's super important. So now we have an email template. I'm just going to go ahead and paste this text in the email template. Now let's talk about what I pasted here. Obviously at the top, this is just text. It just provides the instructions on how to reply. The instructions are fairly simple. They don't do anything. I put this on there because it's a huge warning to not touch what is about to follow, because what is about to follow is this system variable here, the email task ID system variable. This is the item that links the email import process with the actual running process activity instance that I need to approve or deny. This is the one key that links it all together. This doesn't matter if we have not checked on the user activity that we're trying to complete. We have not checked that allow completion via email. Allow completion via email is required piece 1. The email task ID, which has to be in the text of the email template itself. It must be. That is piece 2. Those are the 2 pieces that enable the email actions custom task that runs on the import process. Those are the 2 pieces that allow it to complete our activity the way that we expect the activity to be completed. So if your end user, and by the way, I deleted the emails, but let me grab one so that we can see it. And I have to now find where all of those emails were, their success. Here's one. Great. So when the email gets sent, it gets sent. This is how the system variable gets sent. This is the format in which it is sent. It appears in square brackets. It has TLID colon, and then it has the GUID for the timeline activity instance that is actually running so that it knows what task it's trying to complete. So this has to exist, and it has to exist in this format on the email template. You may want to, try some fancy way of hiding it. For example, setting the text color to white so that you can't actually see it against the white background of an email, which I guess works fine right up until somebody changes their outlook so that the background of their emails are all dark gray or black. Not sure how you can hide it. I have taken the step of saying, danger, you cannot edit this ever. Don't touch it. If that doesn't stop you from editing it, I don't know what will. If you have other creative ways of doing it, please feel free to implement them. But this is super important. This has to exist and has to be correct. If I happen to click down here, by accident, and I just happen to delete the E, it all fails. So while I recognize that this might be a little precarious, this is the way that it has to be done. Remember, emails are just text messages. They don't do anything fancy. They don't show controls. They're just text messages. I mean, the fact that we're seeing it in boldface and and all of this other horizontal lines there. That all looks cool. And we have different fonts that are showing up. That's all great. And none of it matters because this is a text message. In this case, the text just happens to be HTML, and Outlook happens to take that HTML and kindly shows it to me as if my email message were a web page, but it's just a text message. That's all email is. So what I have to do on the process director side, what process director has to do is it has to parse this email message. It actually has to do a text comparison, and it has to look for a square bracket followed by TLID followed by a colon. And then it knows that all of the text that appears from that colon all the way until it sees another square bracket says, aha, that is the GUID I need to identify my timeline activity instance. And so it grabs it out of the email. And it does that by literally reading the email character by character until it gets to here, which tells it, I have something special I have to do. I've got to grab all of this stuff here and do stuff with it. So that's why this is important. So I do need to have that in my email. Without it, none of this works. Now, I've done something a little special here on my email data control. Obviously, I have my title here, but do note I have a specific from email. And the reason that I have a specific from email is because I'm having to manually do all of the processing for this. So in an email template, on my email data control, if I have a from email address, it overrides my default workflow email address. It overrides my registered email address, and it uses this specific email address as my from email. Since in most cases, your default workflow from email address is the one that's going to go on the email, with, if you don't have it, a fallback to registered email address. But both of those email addresses probably aren't real email inboxes, which is to say they're unmonitored. Nobody looks at them. Nobody handles them. In fact, in most cases, they probably just reject incoming emails in any case. So you don't want people to reply to them, which is, by the way, a perfectly rational way of setting this thing up. If I have, thousands of users and I am sending out, hundreds of task notifications a day, I probably don't want that email inbox to get conceivably filled up with replies that I don't want. But in this case, it's got to go to an email inbox. It has to be replied to, and that email has to be available to be imported into Process Director. So just as I have set the from email to my BP Logix email address, you will probably have to, on the email data control in your email template, have to set it to whatever email inbox is going to be the storage location for all of the response messages that you get from your end users. So you will, in most cases, have to set the from email address and override your defaults. Okay, great. I've got this email template. It has my email task ID set with it. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. And it will take a second, obviously, to save it. And once it does, we'll need to go into our process timeline. We'll need to associate this email template with our process timeline. So there we go. We've got it saved. We have an email template. Just on general principles, I'm going to change my email template to a envelope-y looking icon. That's not the preferred one. That is the preferred one. So I like Did I set it or not? I must not have set it. Let's try her again. Where's that envelope that I like? Erg, I saw it just a second ago. It was super obvious. Now it's gone. Um, that is weird. Am I looking at the right tab? Oh, I was not. That's the tab I want. That's the email icon I want. Save it. There we go. Now I know it's my email template. So let's go to our, um, oh, I'm in the wrong, wait a second. I'm in the wrong, I must have clicked over here inadvertently and done the wrong thing. So forgive me as I try to properly set up my template for the fifth time here. There we go. There's my email template. It is set up. Now we can go to my process timeline. We can go into options and I can set the default email template for this timeline. And we should be set to run it. Okay. So I believe I have everything I need to make this run. I've got a process timeline with, and forgive the review, but I need to actually do this review for me. So I have a process timeline with a user activity. I've got results that are configured to parse email strings. The advanced option is set to allow tasks to be completed from email. I have an email template that has the TLID set as a system variable in the email template. My form has a signature comments field. Great. That is set up. I now have a place into which I can import emails. It is a folder. I have it configured as a smart folder to automatically start my email import process. My email import process consists of a single custom task activity. It is the email action activity. I'm looking for line 1 for the results, line 2 for the comments. It will attach the email to the process. I've got success and failure messages configured. I think I've got everything I need to make this run properly. The only thing that I don't know is if it works. So let's hit run and let me clean out my email inbox to be sure I've got nothing in there so I can find my emails easily when they come in. So here's my form. It doesn't do anything. Signature comments obviously don't work on initial form creation. I'm going to submit. Okay, I've got my approve and my deny results. I didn't actually configure the buttons with colors or anything, but I'm now in the context of an activity. My signature comments are running, and I have received the email that notifies me of my task. It will be sent to me. So I am going to go ahead and reply. And I hit approve last time, I believe. So deny. Now, see, if you're sending me these emails and I hit respond via email, you also have to ensure that your text strings include the horrible misspellings like deny that I might type in whenever I respond. I don't think this is a good idea. Now I'm going to go ahead and send it. I have, as far as I know, completed my task. So now I'm just waiting for that response email to drop into my email inbox because, again, I've got to save it and manually import it. Finally, there it comes. I have my email. Deny, I don't think this is a good idea. No idea why it took so long for that to get here. I'm going to hit, oh, I can't hit save. I got to go to save as. And This is email completion request 534, which we are going to save. And so now I am going to pretend that I am BP email import, and I'm going to go to document file, and I'm going to browse for 534. I remember the number, and I am going to upload it or import it into my folder. There we go. It is now in my folder, and I have a message that says success and that it worked. Let us confirm to see if that is true. So let's go to the form, and I actually want the form instance. Let's pop open the form instance. Well, there we go. There's my routing slip. There is my result. Denied it. There is my signature comment. That looks good. Let's go to our process timeline instance, of which we should only have one, and it should be completed. It is. Let's go to its properties. Again, we see our routing slip, the same routing slip. We knew that was good, so we're fine there. Let us look at the timeline items tab and ensure that I have an email message that is attached to the process timeline, and we gave it the group name email. That group name is now properly reflected here in our process timeline. So we now have a working setup for doing email completion offline. There's a lot of moving pieces to it. It is mildly, but not super complex to set up. There are numerous possible points of failure with this because we're doing a lot of text parsing. And anytime that you do text parsing, there's always the possibility that things go wonky, things get inadvertently erased or edited or what have you, and things don't work out the way that you expect. Also, of course, you're depending on your users to be able to respond in the proper format and fashion. That's also another point of failure. So it's great to have. Just remember, it's not perfect, and the email offline completion may not work. On the plus side, if the email online completion doesn't work, nothing happens. The activity is still running. It's still active. It can still be completed online. So even if everything in the email goes wonky, it doesn't destroy anything. It is happily a non-destructive method of attempting to complete a task. The worst that can happen is that it fails and your recipient gets a failure message, which, by the way, we didn't even test. So since we're here and we have plenty of time, let's actually make it not work. Let's test for failure. So we'll go ahead, we'll run it, we'll submit it. We don't even need to look at the form at this point. There we go. It's submitted. Yay. And I should get my email in due course. And there it is. So I will open this up and I will reply with Dernifid. I can't type. So my request has been dernifed. And so let's send my dernifal back to the system. Oh, forget about this spelling foolishness. Send the email. So I've responded to the email. And as you can see, I've responded with a minimum of literacy. And I have received my response. and we will file and save as, and this will be 535. So we'll save that message to my downloads folder, going to email imports, new not drop down object, cancel, new document file. And we'll grab 535 out of the queue. And we will upload that. 535 is in. My message should be arriving momentarily in the interim. Oh, there it is. So fail, didn't work. That's the email message I was expecting. If we look at our timelines, we'll go into active timelines. I don't need to go check completed timelines. I know we still have an active timeline because this completion didn't work. And since it didn't work, if we check our properties here, we can see our process timeline is still active. Similarly, if we open up our form, that is still active as well. So sure, my online completion failed, but it didn't mess anything up. Like I said just a few minutes ago, it is a non-destructive method of attempting to complete a task. It either works, in which case you're happy, or it doesn't work, in which case you're no worse off than you were before. Worst case scenario, I have to send an email that doesn't try to send a result of der nicht as my task result. So there we go. Now we've tested a failure, which we wanted to do. And that's all I have for you today. It's not a very lengthy webinar. I've been filling up the entire 2 hours for the last several months. So I have a lot of time today to return to you as the balance for this webinar. Have a great week. We will look forward to talking to you next week. Until then, so long.